Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of We Bought a Mic, a podcast about Wings of Voice, the competition singing show that is by pilots, for pilots, and really just a showcase of talent in the aviation safety world. Welcome. My name's Ernest.
Wake me up. Wake me up inside. I can't wake up.
Save me.
My name is Hunter.
And I'm Sully Sullenberger, and I'm here to say fuck Nathan Field.
At every stage of life.
Can I
from
just say,
baby.
Sully Sullenberger. That's like the silliest name that any person's ever.
Well, you'd go by that too if your
Sullenberger?
real name was Chesley.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Chesley Sullenberger.
Yeah, no way.
Call me Sully.
Do you think that his sister actually looks like that in real
Yes.
life? Okay. And his parents, they also look like
Yeah.
that. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, good.
Today we're talking about The Rehearsal Season 2 on HBO. That is our main topic today. But before then, we have some other things to get into. So if you just want to skip to that, the time code will be in the description below.
Yep.
We got a little bit of a catch-up grab bag here. It's been a minute. Boys went on vacation.
Yeah, we did.
Boys went on mountain time.
Boys went on mountain time, had a ball. I'll of course kick off the catch up with my coverage of chess.com and the chess app.
It's happening.
Yeah.
So Lee is just like, I guess you both are like balls deep into chess app.
We got you hooked.
I'm in. I'm really bad at it. It's so frustrating.
You're rage quitting.
It's not something you can do passively. You know,
You
what I mean?
can. You'll get there.
No, I know. It's just like it takes a while.
Yeah.
Because like one slip up and you're fucked.
Right.
And I think my new dream job is writing the little things that the bots say. The chess app is incredible, by the way. It's phenomenal. It's very interactive. It gives you levels. It analyzes every game you play and tells you every single move, what you did wrong. Incredible app.
Wow.
The bots all have different little personalities, and they're a little.
They have like stories and bios.
Yeah,
Do you play against other people, or do you guys play against the bots?
You can play real people. I'm not good enough yet. And I played against one real guy who I think was in Mexico, and he smoked me so hard that I haven't played again.
Got it. Okay.
You did a 5-minute blitz or a 10-minute rapid?
It was 10-minute rapid.
Yeah.
And I just got so upset. It was in the Uber on the way back from the airport, and I don't know if you could sense the mood in the backseat, but I was furious. Anyway, yeah,
you were playing our Uber driver. He almost did crash.
one of the first bots you play is a guy who's clearly trying to like traffic his children to you.
Yeah.
It's
Martin.
Yeah, it's just
I never get this kind of interaction on the Chinese checkers app. I just want to say so. Like,
he keeps bringing up his kids and like he's like, oh, I just got beat by my freaking 4-year-old. Hey, you're way better than my kids. They're cute. Hey, you want to see some pictures of them? No. Anyway, gotta recommend that. Obviously, this is part of my credential. It's I have to review this as part of my membership of the Central Florida Film Critics Society.
Oh yeah, you're obligated.
Central Florida Films Chess Society.
I'm trying so hard to get in.
Yeah. We should get Gotham Chess on the pod. You know, then we'll know we've made it.
We're getting mad.
Come on the pod, Gotham. Come on the pod. Let us know what you thought of the latest films.
So can I ask a chess question? Because I played chess. The last time I played chess, I think the year was like 2016, I want to say. What happened is neither of us knew how to play chess. So we just kept killing each other's pieces until we just had like 2 guys left that were just like chasing each other around in a circle endlessly. And then we were like, well, I guess that's just how you end the game of chess.
That's what you call a draw.
Okay.
How
often does that happen in chess?
I have learned, the biggest thing I've learned is that a stalemate is no good.
Yeah. It basically means like you basically didn't even play.
Well, the thing is, it's so frustrating because like I was playing these bots with like my main goal was just to take out all their players and then figure out checkmate after that. However, if their king has nowhere to move, but you don't have the king in check, that's a stalemate. You did not win. And so what's happening is I'm not winning like almost at all.
Are you resigning?
I'm getting to the end feeling like I should be winning, and yet I'm not.
Yeah.
It almost reminds me of the way Russell Hantz plays Survivor. His game is designed to get him to the end, but he will never win. Now,
is this a segue?
Is that a transition?
You can do what you will with that. I'm not the segue guy usually, but I thought that was pretty
Ernest
good.
has like another 45 minutes lined up on chess that you're just like ushering him out of.
So-
Here's the thing. If we want to talk NBA playoffs instead, it's all like Tom Thibodeau. As a coach, his game gets you to the end.
Celtics are out.
But
are you invested?
I
at
am
all?
currently actually wearing an Orlando Magic Fallout Boy shirt right now. But I want to be clear.
They did fall out, boy.
They also did. I'm just cheering for loser teams. Go Pacers, baby. Eat shit, New York.
I love watching
You and your fans are trash, and I hate you.
Timothy Chalamet on the sidelines.
I know.
It's my favorite show.
I heard
of the
that
year.
Jason Tatum, while he was under for the Achilles, he's also getting an ARA transplant. I think he's finally going to be cool now.
Mhm. Yeah. Did you hear he's actually going to be back by Halloween now? The timeline just keeps moving back up.
So I did have written down
You
to talk
wish that
about
Jason Tatum would be cool. He's never going to be. He's a fucking nerd who just loves his mom.
He's so lame.
as of this recording, the cast for Survivor 50 has been announced.
It was dropped unceremoniously via hideous Instagram graphic.
No, well, before that, it was announced via leak.
Yeah.
So then they were like, "Oh shit, I guess we have to."
well
throw
because
a
they're
graphic
about to
together."
start filming it.
Well, I didn't think they were going to announce the cast until at least season 49. Until at least we knew who that was.
But it's such a hot button item that, of course, as soon as they went
Couldn't
into
keep it under
production,
wraps.
So obviously they had not specified exactly what the 50th season's format would be, but they did make a lot of noise about how it would be the first season since 40 to feature returning players. We were assuming it was going to be all returning players from seasons 40 to 50. What I think Survivor realized is that not a ton of people watch anymore. So they got to pull the old classics out. They got to fucking dust off Ozzy from like whatever bar he's been like smashing young girls at.
Hey, let me tell you, Ozzy doesn't look great these days.
No, he doesn't.
He was once like young, hot hunk bag. Not quite the same
So
anymore.
it looks like it's split pretty much dead center between like old era
I think it's a split
preseason
exactly.
40
Yep.
and postseason 40.
12v12.
12v12, really interesting array. Some people that we had really wanted to see from postseason 40. I'm sure we'll slowly learn like via Twitter who said no. Because there's some
Probably a lot.
There's some people who just are like, I know you asked them. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Or you would at least think. And
Where's Jesse?
where's Carolyn?
Come on.
See, I feel like Carolyn, like she probably got asked, but I feel like she does kind of seem like somebody who'd just be like, no, I'm okay. I did my thing.
She did the Traitors.
Maybe she's just like done with.
Maybe she did.
Reality
Well, she
TV
probably
now
did the
because of that.
Traders, and she was like, "Hey, I can be on reality TV and not like starve. That sounds great."
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure. Honestly, the Traders and like whatever that other show
It's
is,
ruining Survivor.
House of Villains or whatever the fuck.
So I will say, I thought that this is like a pretty fun group, all things considered. Here's the thing. I had no hopes that this was going to be a perfect cast because there's literally no such thing on any of the returnee seasons. It's never 100% people that you want.
That's true.
I'm happy to see Ozzy, even though, you know, like I don't want to know what his personal life is like these days. I love Suri. I'm happy that she's back.
Suri's always a solid player. I'm with these like really old players. I'm worried about them just coasting.
Yeah.
Coach. What the
Okay,
fuck
well, that
are
was-
we doing?
Let's go.
Here's the thing.
No.
Here's the
Yeah!
thing. Coach is good for television.
Coach-
No.
Coach
Because
is
listen,
the funniest
here's-
person I've ever seen
No,
on TV
just
in
imagine-
my whole life.
Imagine the conversation.
Don't you dare.
Coach and Q together.
Oh my
just
God.
get them in a room together and
That's
just
a
like
good point.
let them fucking cook, man. Like that is what Survivor
It's
is
Coach
for,
with a
baby.
Q.
Here's the
It's
thing.
Coach spelled with a Q.
I will
Coach.
tell you that I know for a fact that Jeff Probst was like, I will kill myself in front of the producers if we don't get Jonathan back in here.
Yes.
Yeah. He
his-
was thirsty for Jonathan.
He was just like, you are the most amazing Adonis of a human being I've ever seen in the show. And everybody's like, yeah, we don't like this guy. He's a douchebag.
Okay, so going back toward the older players, yes, you have Suri, you have Coach, you have Ozzy.
motherfucking Mike White.
Mike White is back.
Yeah,
he was
buried the lead there.
He was on the best like 30 something season for my money, unless I'm missing one. But The best like late era pre-40, I think it's 37. Incredible season that he's on. He gets second place. Spoiler alert. Sorry. It's really funny.
Oh, I didn't know that. Holy shit.
It's real.
That's dangerous for this.
Apologies. Well, it's also dangerous because like back then, only a couple of people knew who he was, and if you didn't, it was David versus Goliath. So he was one of the Goliaths because
He was one of the Goliaths.
I know,
So funny.
which is very funny, but also like if you didn't know who he was, like he wasn't going to be able to like jog your memory because he'd be like, oh yeah, I made this show with Laura Dern called Enlightened.
I wrote School of Rock.
He's like,
Rock is
yeah,
what got
I'm
people.
in-
Now he can say, hey, I make one of the biggest shows on TV. He's a bigger deal now than he ever
Well,
has
he's
been.
a Survivor celebrity,
And he's
which
all-
is all these people know Survivor lore.
That's sort of my issue with bringing back. So I don't think he's going to coast necessarily. I think he's coming back to play. Colby Donaldson hasn't played since Heroes versus Villains, which was the most piss poor showing I've ever seen.
I was going to say,
It was sad.
he didn't want to be in Heroes versus Villains, which is why it's like, is he going to be more motivated 15 years later?
I think what
Maybe
he wants,
will.
I think what he wants is to be considered to host Survivor once Jeff leaves. I think this is him angling. I would bet you anything he's going to be really into it this time.
Do you think like he knows that Boston Rob had like the inside track and he's just like, we have to
Boston
we can't
Rob,
let that happen.
I don't want to see that guy host.
Come on.
Colby hosted a reality competition show about butchering meat.
Oh, cool.
Me and
they
Nate.
murder animals on camera.
Yes, it
Oh
is.
my god!
It is. Well, it's not. They're not killing the animals, but it is the most disgusting show. The challenges are all like you have to cut up this whole
I think
alligator.
I think you've shown me this.
Me and Nate watched a lot of episodes of it. It's horrible. He's a horrible host. He has hair transplant. Not excited to see him again.
I think it's cool they brought back Jenna from first season 1, and she was on All Stars in season 8. That was the last time she was on, is 2004.
Yeah.
So 11 or 21 years. I can't do math. 21 years.
Also from David versus Goliath, you have Christian Hubicki, who is like he was awesome on Survivor. He's one of those people that got eliminated because everyone was like, I love you too much. You were the best person I've ever met. He's like a classic autistic dork ass guy. I think he's a professor at FSU. He fucking rocks.
Okay.
That's an A+ selection. Angelina, also from David versus Goliath, an absolute psychopath. This girl, I think she's a great returning person because like she truly was like a sociopath out there. Love to see her returning.
My question with Christian, and I have not seen David versus Goliath, so excuse me for asking this. Do you think they asked Cochran first and Cochran said no? As like, let's get a nerdy guy who nerdy fan favorite.
Yeah, I would imagine great chance of that. I don't like the idea of winners just being mixed in here. Even though
I almost want a full team of.
Well, that's the thing. Two of the strongest winners post season 4 are here. D and then
spoilers for the newest season of Survivor.
And then the winner of the newest season. And it kind of I don't know. It kind of bothers me. I guess
they are great players and great on-camera personality.
Well, and if everyone's returning, I guess like everyone has a target on their back because everybody knows everybody. But like to be a winner and just mixed in with a bunch of non-winners, you're not going to win again.
Yeah, no, it's tough.
That doesn't really happen.
I also think that like the people like Charlie, for example, who didn't win, but
should have fucking won.
Yeah, pretty much like the consensus from everybody is like, hey, he played the best.
I'm so excited he's back.
They picked a great crop of post 40 people.
I wanted more. I wanted more new players.
I mean, this is why we thought they'd do a whole cast out of them.
Of just post,
because there are a lot of great ones, and if you're only giving them 12.
Here's the thing. I don't think that this was the last returning season. I could see that if this show goes on beyond 50, I could see us going back to the well a little bit more. They've replenished the stock a bit that now they can kind of
maybe even before 55.
Yeah. I want to ask season 47, Genevieve. What are the vibes on her? I have not seen that season.
Genevieve was
good.
She was kind of like a stone cold killer, and she got called out for it, and so she was on the outs because of that. I think that
probably a bit compromised by the edit they gave her.
No, exactly.
And just the game she was forced to play because of the position she was put in.
Yeah, exactly. And
so she could be very different here.
And she had an interesting arc where she was like articulating like, yeah, it's really hard because like I'm killing these people. So yeah, I don't want to make connections with them. And now they're mad at me for not making connections. It was
a great like late game.
Yeah, I liked her as a player. Tiff is returning from
Tiff.
from 46. Really strong player.
Three people from 46, which is by my money the best new season.
I'm still really upset with Tiff because she is the one who did all the legwork at Ponderosa to get Kenzie that win.
Yeah, it's
facts,
and that's upsetting to me.
Do you think there's some bad blood between Tiff and Charlie whenever they get there on the island?
I know.
I can only hope.
So from the new season, without spoiling who wins, you have Joe, who is just like a ringer to return. He is the most camera friendly person I may have ever seen on Survivor. Not just in terms of being attractive. He is attractive, but he expresses every thought he has on his face and his body. He is you would think he's acting if you didn't like really get to know him. You'd be like, this guy can't really be like this. I think he really is just like that. You know what? He is just the type of guy to walk to the end of the beach and like have a conversation with his dead sister.
Yeah.
And like genuinely do that and not be thinking about the cameras on him.
Right.
He's that type of MF. So I'm glad he's back.
Are we sad that the milkman himself is not returning to see Mr. Knock Knock?
What was his name?
David.
David? No, get that bitch out of here.
I think he should return.
I'm surprised to see there was 3 people from 48 that are.
It's a great 3.
It was a great season. It was a great cast.
Not a great season.
The problem is the season. The cast is one of the best of the whole.
They just didn't play.
Yeah. And
they didn't fucking play. They chilled the whole time.
The player won. You know what I mean?
Wow.
So
yeah.
Facts. Yeah. So you got Joe coming back.
Emily, we haven't mentioned.
Kyle and Camilla. Yeah. Emily,
Love
who was
Emily.
sidekicks with the of the old lady.
45
in her season. I think she has a lot of potential to do more than she did.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think she was a good player.
Yeah.
I am excited for this. I'm interested to see the division. I think they're really. What if they just don't divide them by old versus new?
Yeah, I mean they could do 3 or 4 tribes.
Did you guys watch Edge of Extinction? A lot of Edge of Extinction.
I don't think I've ever seen it.
No, that was not a very well.
That's back when they were titling Survivor seasons like they were like Mission Impossible movies. You know, there was one season called.
Is that a segue?
There was one season called Heroes versus Healers versus Hustlers.
Which apparently is like a good season.
Blood versus Water.
Watch that.
Blood versus Water is actually the name of the 9th Mission Impossible movie.
Do you want to talk about it?
I just real quick, I did want to say that I was at first disappointed by this lineup of players. But after kind of thinking and talking about it, I am a little bit more amped up. I do have just more questions about like the structure of the season. Now that we have the cast out of the way, are we going back to 30 something days? Is the live reunion coming back? Like there's a lot more questions about just what is 50 going to be that may not be answered for a while because this doesn't actually happen until 2026. But, you know, cast aside, I do think that there's still a lot to be excited about.
Yeah.
So
I think that if nothing else, we have good TV characters on here mixed in with people who we know are good players. And that's kind of what you want. You don't want, I think for a while, one of Survivor's problems was that they were only trying to get people who were like genius masters of Survivor. And that doesn't make for a fun television show to watch. You don't want everybody who's thinking like 12 layers deep, because then it's usually like not as interesting for TV personalities. One thing that they've gotten better, I would say 44, 45 and on from the new era is like, we need to throw some cues in here. We have to have some Carolines in here. We need some wild cards that like can be a little bit off the rails. Because
Coach is the GOAT. Yeah. He's going to get canceled so hard with his fucking like Native American bullshit he does. That's a white man.
Isn't he the guy that did the saxophone on what's his name's song? The guys went to go see
no,
live.
Coach did not play
on Ben's song. There's no way that Coach had a feature on there. On
who was the guy? Who was the Survivor player that Ben did a collab with?
Hold on, I'm checking this out right now.
That'd be lit. Coach is incredible. Generally, the other thing to mention about the season 50 is like the big theme of it is like it's in your hands. the throughout the newest season of Survivor, Jeff has been calling for you to get on Survivor.com or the app or whatever, not an app, but in like vote.
I didn't fucking vote. It wanted me to make a CBS.com account that's separate from my Paramount Plus account. And I'm just like, I don't want to do
They're
that.
still figuring things out over there.
Did you vote?
It's 2008. You know, we're still early on.
Listen, when Sundance takes over, they'll finally get everything figured out.
Yeah, I did vote. I mean, a lot of it was really stupid. And it was just like, do you want the idol to look like this or this? The most interesting, by far the most consequential thing they asked was, do you want no idols?
Whoa.
That would change everything.
And we're not going to figure out
with no idols would be nuts.
what actually won until it actually comes on.
I guess so.
I do like the idea of them going back to just like there's one idol on the island. It's hidden. There's no hints. Find it or don't.
That's
that's
fair.
it.
At least no. Yeah.
Like
If they were being real, they would ask like, hey, do you want us to do all the bullshit or not? You know what I mean? Like, I don't think that they, which I want to vote to bring back the hourglass.
fuck that. Fuck the hourglass.
The stupidest edition postseason 40.
It is Coach. It is Coach.
Has a
I'm watching
feature
it right now.
Oh my God, that's crazy.
Coach is a special man. If you got to go back and watch Token Cheens.
Oh, it's coming out of the fucking computer, not the headphones. Yeah, he's playing the trumpet.
Poor Ben. Ben did say when we talked to him in person that he did want to come back for season 50. So sorry, Ben.
Yikes.
Hope degrees
not a strong player, unfortunately.
He was a fun,
Great
player,
rocker.
but, you know,
He was a great addition.
he rocked and rolled, man.
Look, see, there's a picture of Ben with Coach and a Thanksgiving turkey. They're friends.
Wow, they're
He
pals.
played saxophone and other horn and woodwind instruments on his songs. All right, so that's Survivor 50 cast preview. We're excited. We're excited for 49 too. While Survivor is on summer break, we've got summer movies.
Mhm.
So before we finally get to our rehearsal season 2 talk, it's time for a quick rapid fire, quick reviews of some new movies in theaters right now that we've been watching. So I got a chance to see the new Wes Anderson film, The Phoenician Scheme.
I also saw this movie.
Yes,
It's actually going wide this week as we're releasing this.
Yeah, it's sort of a weird, rollout.
Yeah.
It's focus features, but they got the clout to put it out.
Listen,
wide.
they don't want the fucking smoke of Tom Cruise, okay? Or of Lilo and Stitch.
So just real quick, I want to shout this movie out. It's not my favorite Wes Anderson, but I think it's a worthy entry in his filmography. I enjoyed it very much. I think I came at it from, loving Asteroid City so much more and more with time. And maybe this one will get there as well. But you kind of know what you're getting with Wes Anderson. You kind of feel his vibe. If you're a fan, you're a fan. If you're not, it's not going to work.
Right.
This one's not really going to bring you in if you're not already in the bag.
See, I kind of disagree with that, actually, with that specific statement. I think that Wes Anderson, for the last few movies that he's had, really going back to Isle of Dogs, if we're going like Isle of Dogs, French Dispatch, Asteroid City, they have been such like cast showcases where there's this massive sprawling cast. There is no like real true like leading performer. There is, but they're kind of like mixed in with 14 other people that you've heard of before that are also all vying for screen time. I think that this is actually like, I could tell, well, maybe not my parents because they don't watch anything, but like I could tell some parents to watch this movie and I think that they would pretty much follow what's going on.
Yeah.
I would say that coming out of it, I was a little bit more positive than I think some of the other people that we were screening with. I'm not over the moon for this movie, but I would say that I think it's on the safer end for Wes Anderson movies from what we know that he is capable
It's
of.
closer to like a normal movie
Yes.
than a lot of what his stuff
and that's
feels
why I think that
Yeah.
is actually pretty accessible for most people, even if you're not normally into the Wes Anderson shtick. Now, I will say, I've now seen Asteroid City, I think 3 or 4 times. That is climbing up the ranks. It might just straight up be my favorite Wes Anderson.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Wow.
Right now I have it at number 2 on my list, only behind Rushmore.
Oh my God.
But I love that movie. I think that movie is a masterpiece. But that is a movie that is like, it has layers upon layers upon layers.
You got to give it the multiple rewatches.
Yeah. Phoenician Scheme doesn't really have that same level of
it's fun
depth to it, I want to say. But yeah, I don't want to say that it's not fun. It is a lot of fun. I'm excited to see it again because I think every single Wes Anderson movie has gotten better upon rewatch because they always have extra layers to them. Even if it's just like comedic jokes that are like
visual gags
deeper than you are able to pay attention to on your first watch because you're like so focused in on whatever the story is that's happening.
What are you gonna ask?
More of a comment. Long time, first time. If you asked me to come up with a joke name of a Wes Anderson movie, I would say the Phoenician Scheme 100% of the time.
Yeah. Well, it's his first like kind of I mean, Life Aquatic had elements of this, but it's his most like kind of spy caper movie that he's done. You know, he's really leaning into it here. I really want to shout out Mia Threppleton.
Yeah.
Who plays the co-lead alongside Benicio del Toro. Had never seen her in anything before. And now I am just like fully in the bag for whatever she does next. Absolutely loved her performance in this. And Benicio does a great job too. I kind of had a feeling like he was miscast in this role until the very, very end of the movie, sort of the final little epilogue.
Like, oh, that's why you have Benicio in this moment.
It recontextualizes like why you got Benicio in there, and it made it work a little bit better. And then Michael Cera, who I just can't believe has
incredible Michael
never
Cera.
been in a Wes Anderson movie until now.
One of my favorite supporting performances of the year so far is Michael Cera.
I think
he's phenomenal.
It's important to remember with him, he is not what you expect, which is like a child actor flame up who like either didn't have the ability or just doesn't look young anymore. He has all the ability in the world. He chooses to do like theater and then just like live an interesting life instead of being in the public spotlight all the time. Such an interesting guy.
He's great in this.
Any interview with him is worth watching. He's so fascinating and he is so talented. And I was thrilled when I found out he'd be in this movie.
Yeah. I really hope that he's going to become like one of the Wes Anderson cast of characters that he just has in every movie. I could definitely see it based on how well suited he is to this world. But I think to that point, like those three, Benicio, Mia, and Michael Cera, the movie really spends the whole time with those three on their little journey that they have together. And we do get like some impeccable other like moments and scenes with different individuals. Specifically, there's a sequence with Tom Hanks and Bryan Cranston, which is like up there for one of the best scenes in any movie that I've seen here so far. It is fucking hilarious.
The Cran Man having a big year.
Yeah, with the studio. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just wait until you finish the studio. Cran Man, you're not done with Cran Man.
Let's go.
I really enjoyed this movie, but I think that it's closer to something like, and I don't think it's as good as this movie, but something like Grand Budapest Hotel, where it's like we're just with this one small group of characters, and we're just going to follow them around on their little adventure, and you'll meet fun little things along the way. But it's pretty digestible.
Yeah,
and in that way, can be called safe, just because of like what we know Wes is capable of. But that doesn't any kind of direct slight on the quality of the movie.
That's the Phoenician Scheme. Check it out. The next movie I want to talk about, very different vibe here. It's a horror movie. It's called Bring Her Back. It's the follow-up to the guys who made Talk to Me, which was a horror movie that came out a couple years ago and sort of, made a big splash as a A24 horror movie about, a sort of deeper emotional theme that prioritized actually being scary. And Talk to Me, I think, for all the hype that it got, I wasn't super in love with it. This movie's, I think it's also A24, isn't it?
Yeah.
They're both A24. Yeah. So bring her back. For as much as I enjoyed Talk to Me, I didn't really have super high expectations for this because I wasn't overjoyed by it. And bring her back, I think highlights a lot of maybe what might be my own personal struggles with the horror genre, where the movie
you don't like being scared because you're a little baby.
Mhm.
Well,
Say it.
The movie does have some incredible horror moments that are some of the best horror moments I've seen in any movie in a long time. Like really visceral stuff that makes you look away from the screen. My favorite parts of this movie was just like screaming, like leaning forward and just telling myself, don't look away because it's not real. Watch it. Watch the craft of this gory, insane moment unfold while everyone else averts their eyes. But the problem is that there's a lot of clunk in the way, There's a lot of stuff that has to happen that horror movies just have to do to get the plot to happen. And I just bumped on it a lot here, when you're not in the extreme horror scenes, when you're just kind of setting up the characters, setting up the stakes and the plot, where I was just like, come on. I mean, you're taking me out of it a little bit by making these choices. Give the script another pass. Make it a little bit more believable. Don't put me in this place where I feel like I'm watching a movie. So that might be more of a me problem.
I don't think that that's solely with the horror genre. I think that's something that does that's in any kind of genre filmmaking, whether it's like horror or a Marvel movie or an action movie or anything like that kind of inner workings.
I just felt it a lot here.
At least it can be there if it's just like not as great of a script or as well written. I also kind of similarly, I like Talk to Me. I really enjoyed my time watching it. It became a bit of a phenomenon. And I don't know if it really warranted all that much. But I'm also, I have more time generally for horror movies. Like I will usually take like a 5 out of, or like a 6 out of 10 horror movie over a lot of other genres if they are able to create some kind of visceral reaction. At the end of the day, I'm dead inside and I just want to feel things.
This movie will make you feel things.
Okay, well then that's good.
I mean, the basic premise is it's these two kids who have to be taken in by a foster parent. And the foster parent is not as nice as she may seem. And the foster parent is played by Sally Hawkins, who is known for playing a incredible foster parent in the Paddington movies. So you're getting a lot of that energy here where you're feeling like, oh my God, it's Paddington's stepmom. Everything's fine. We're all safe here, right? And the movie then unfolds from there. So another complaint I had is I kind of felt like Sally Hawkins was very much in the dramatic version of this movie and not like the schlocky horror movie version. And that kind of bothered me a little bit because the movie chooses to drop in all these little lore bits where there's more happening. There are more layers to this story that aren't being revealed to the audience fully. And I wanted to see that. So the movie ends and I'm just kind of like left wanting to learn more about the world and the lore and the background of this situation. And what unfolds is interesting enough, but it's not as interesting as what I would have gotten it if we could have explored some of these other things a little bit more. I also got to shout out these kids that they got. I mean, Billy Barrett is the main girl, and Jonah Wren Phillips is this boy that they got who's like all over the marketing in the poster.
Do you think there's
holy shit?
Do you think there's a law that every child actor now has to have 3 names?
Yeah. It's the Millie Bobby Brown act.
It's kind of crazy.
It's the big, beautiful Millie Bobby Brown.
It's honestly probably just like a SAG workaround because you have to have a name in SAG. Like in order to register in SAG, you have to have a name no one
Michael
else
B.
has.
Jordan.
Yeah.
That's when Michael Jordan registered in SAG when he made Space
Do you think
Jam.
that like the NFL like later adopted that and they're like, wait, there's a defensive end named Josh Allen. We can't have that work. You're now Josh Hines Allen.
Yeah.
So
Sorry, someone, even though you may have been here before, but
nobody
brother-
knows who the fuck you are.
brother, I'm sorry. This guy's with Haley Steinfeld.
Speaking of, just because you mentioned Sally Hawkins, it just reminded me that I remember seeing Paddington in Peru, another movie that came out this year. And the moment that the mom showed up, no, fucking like Emily Mortimer or some.
It's a recast?
It's a recast.
Oh.
And I said out loud in the theater, I said, where the fuck is Sally Hawkins?
She's doing some freaky
She's
shit.
doing this,
and
whatever
bring
the
her
hell
back.
this is.
You got escorted out.
Yeah.
I
I
recommend.
said Paddington's going to be in peril now because Sally Hawkins isn't there to protect him.
More like Paddington and Barrel.
I recommend bring her back if you're a sicko looking for a good time with a crazy horror movie. It's got, like I said, some of those visceral, intense horror scenes I've seen in quite some time, but as a movie, didn't quite work all the way for me. Another movie that didn't quite work all the way there for me. I gotta say my piece. I gotta carve out a quick minute here to talk about
Okay, Thunderbolts?
Mission Impossible:
Oh.
The Final Reckoning.
Yeah, you were too busy just thinking about how great of a movie Thunderbolts asterisk was. So go ahead.
We can direct listeners to Films for Breakfast, where Hunter, you did 2+ hours on this film with a friend of the pod, Adam. You guys soy boyed out. Nerd Fest.
I don't think that we soy boyed out. All right, say your fucking piece, so then I can talk about my thoughts of this movie.
You know, we went to the screener for this one.
Yeah.
And we had a good time. And we all walked out and we were smiling and we enjoyed this movie.
Yeah.
I like this movie.
Okay.
This is a bad movie. I liked
Bad movie.
I
That's
had a
crazy.
good time at Mission Impossible 8, a movie that is very rough and extremely flawed. It has two of the best action sequences of the entire franchise, one of which is one of the most incredible action sequences that anyone has ever put to film. And yet, it's a 3-hour film that at least minimum a third of is pretty bad.
Okay. I'm giving you all of that. These
Okay.
are all things that I said on the podcast as we're
Okay.
talking about. I think that Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning has both the highest highs and the lowest lows of the entire franchise.
Yeah.
I do think that people who are critical of the plotting of this movie, like, get over yourself. It's a Mission Impossible movie. Like, you cannot say like the plot in Dead Reckoning Part 1 was really well
That movie
done.
is way better than this.
That is categorically false. And I'm going to tell you
I don't
why.
think so.
You cannot have an issue with like the plotting of the AI character. The problem is that they wrote themselves into a hole. AI is a stupid fucking bad guy to put in this because that's not like a real character, a real bad
yeah, but
guy.
there are so
And
many sequences in Dead Reckoning that have nothing to do with the AI.
Well, that's what I want to say. Is like the critical flaws of Final Reckoning have nothing to do with the actual like plot of the movie. It makes like 3, I would say, like key fundamental issues. One of them, and the biggest one, is there's not a lot of humor in this movie, and I think that
There's
is
like
one thing
no
that's
Okay,
really post.
I might not fucking watch it.
Okay, well here let me talk.
Every problem that even the people who like it say that this movie has are things that make me hate movies.
Let me fucking talk about the movie. Let me say my goddamn piece on Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning.
Yeah, Hunter hasn't gotten to talk about movies enough.
3 hours. No, I think that some of the humor, I wanted more. They try in a couple moments and it just doesn't really have the same pizzazz because it's trying to have more of this grand epicness to it. It's missing a set piece. Like, just fundamentally, it's missing some key pieces. It's missing a lot of the part 2 of it all. I think that this never should have been spread out into 2 different movies.
and they try to unpart to it.
Here's the thing, though. I think that, yes, there's a lot of fundamental issues with the writing of this movie. You are underselling the point of when this movie actually does get going. And I think that from, I would say, about the hour 20 mark, I think that this movie sings unlike pretty much It reaches some of the highest highs of any action filmmaking. Like, you cannot beat some of the stuff that's in here. When Tom Cruise is in a submarine and he is cranking the little fucking underwater thing, and the screen is cranking with it to go into the IMAX. Fucking cinema.
Yeah.
It then goes like to this like pretty much like silent operatic, or I guess it's almost like a ballet, but it's Tom Cruise possibly drowning in a tank underwater. That stuff just all fucking works. The biplane stuff. Without getting into like specifics of it, it's all over the marketing. You know, Tom Cruise jumps from one airplane into another airplane.
That is
and guess what?
for
he
sure.
actually did that. I will give you all of the things. Like, there are some key core issues with this movie. I think that those high highs are something that will live in movies forever. And that is where I'm at with Final Reckoning. For the same reason to my point about I just want to feel something when I go to the movies. I fucking felt things unlike that were higher than any other movie that I have seen this year.
If the movie wasn't 3 hours long, if you didn't have to sit through so much bloated dialogue, like, this movie goes on and on and on with the fucking exposition, and we're just like, can somebody do something? Can somebody punch someone?
I mean, please. That's a McQuarrie problem. He like, even in the good Mission Impossibles, there's too much of that. I'll say. The best Mission Impossible has way too much.
You
of that.
feel the weight of how hard it is to make these movies.
Mm-hmm.
You feel
it's hard, bro.
The whole concept of, we're gonna make the set piece first, and then we're going to figure out the story after. That entire thing is like collapsing in on itself.
Well, also, I think the general idea, and this is a Chris Nolan issue as well, of we want to exist in this really complicated world so all this crazy shit can happen, but also we do want it to be the world. Yeah. The real world. And so in order to make that leap, we have to explain so much.
Yeah. And this does actually have a lot of Nolanisms to it.
McQuarrie is a Nolan writer,
but this movie is trying to explain itself, and then it's trying to explain all the movies before this too.
Yeah. I think that to mixed results, and those are kind of some of my biggest issues with the movie is I think some of the stuff is cool, like fun, for lack of a better term, fan service. The Dunlow return. That's great.
I love that.
Love all that.
I was waiting for him to come back. I clapped.
So minor spoilers.
The dude that is like shitting and throwing up in the first movie.
In the first Mission Impossible movie, that they say like send his ass to a place in fucking Alaska. They send him to Alaska, and he is back, and he's like a key central character. He actually has like a whole like important moment,
and he's great.
That's fucking great. Like, that all works.
He thanks Tom Cruise for ruining his life.
Yeah, he's just like, you thought that you ruined my life, but I met the love of my life. It's great. So here, minor spoilers for the dumbest thing that's in this movie. They tried to retrofit the Shea Wiggum character into, get this, Jim Phelps's son from the first movie, John Voight's son. And I said, that sucks.
That's so stupid.
Nothing. It makes no sense. It adds no layers whatsoever.
What a fail son.
It's so dumb. There's a lot of stupidity.
I just don't understand how this happened. Like, I don't want to be.
Don't understand. I think that your expectations for this Mission Impossible movie were too high. I think you are higher on Dead Reckoning than.
Well, they set them high. You know what I mean? They want this.
They want to end game this.
I
think that you can't expect fucking Citizen Kane for Mission Impossible. Like, you should be going in having
the movies
a great time.
have been good.
They've been
like, great.
You also weren't. I think that you weren't having there's some fun in the exposition if you're willing to give yourself over to it. Like, at one point, Tom Cruise fucking mainlines the entity by going into a fucking tank.
I mean, that is just like good
jolting just fucking sounds and pictures at him of his alternate futures that he's going to have. I think that that rocked.
I just don't understand how we go from being in like London and Paris in Fallout to like Venice and Rome in Dead Reckoning to now we're like in bunkers underground.
It's missing some locations.
And all the shots are like close-ups of people that were probably not all in the same room shooting it.
So
for extended periods of time.
So I'm really I think, and I'm really curious as more stuff comes out about the making of this movie. They might have gone too far with some of the stunts, frankly, because it was really hard for them to like find a country that would allow them to do some of these stunts. They were like, hey, we don't have an insurance that will cover Tom Cruise doing the shit that he is doing right now. You're not allowed to film your insane stunts that you're doing here. Now, I will say, this movie is missing a lot of those locations. Like, it really needs more of those. Where the fuck is Vanessa Kirby? Vanessa Kirby just isn't in this movie, despite being like one of the key pieces in the last 2 Mission Impossible movies. It's missing a lot of movie stardom. It's missing Ilsa. It's missing Rebecca Ferguson, which I do think you were always going to come in more negative on this movie simply because of that fact. And you know it deep down that you were always going to be lower on this because
it's a full star.
Haley Atwell. You think Haley Atwell sucks and she's not the love of your life, unlike Rebecca
She
Ferguson.
was good in the last movie. She's bad in this movie.
She's not bad in this. I think that her and Tom do have some chemistry, but it's not nearly as good as the last one because there isn't as much humor. And that's the problem, is that you need Tom at this stage kind of poking fun at himself, and there's a little bit too messianic of
grabbing a flash drive out of a computer better than anyone ever. She grabs that flash. McQuarrie directed the shit out of that scene.
Okay.
There's a key sequence.
Is that what the entity's on? Fucking flash.
No. Well, he's not on the flash drive, but they have to put him into the flash drive.
They have to put the entity on a glowing flash drive.
It's so stupid.
And she has to grab it really fast.
So I am not interested in a Mission Impossible that takes itself seriously because these movies are really stupid. They all are. Even the smart ones are stupid. It's a dumb franchise. The best ones are the ones that acknowledge that and just have fun. And so I might just be out.
Yeah. I still think this movie is a lot of fun. I think that there's flaws to the movie if we're talking about it like as like a film.
You know what you
but
should
here's
do?
the thing. I'm a man of the fucking people. And I think that people like are being, I think that people don't know what they're talking about. I think that people have, it's the finality of it. I think that if this wasn't the final one, then there would not be nearly as much like criticisms and expectations upon it. But I think that there is a lot of that is on its shoulders because of that fact. I'm really excited to see this movie a second time because I actually think that a lot of the exposition-y issues are going to kind of wash away on rewatches.
Drew, you should show up to the movie theater an hour late. Just skip the first hour of the movie.
Like, if you don't want to have fun in your life, like, enjoy watching fucking some other bullshit nonsense.
Nothing happens.
Now, I'm not going to name names.
You don't get to see Tom Cruise mainlining the entity if you skip the first hour.
I'll find like a video of a guy shooting it in a movie theater. There are, I'm not going to name names, but a lot of critics who are so in the bag for these movies do not fuck with this movie. What do you make of that?
No, well, because I don't think that this is like, if I'm looking at my Mission Impossible rankings, this is right near the bottom.
Yeah.
Like it's the
I mean,
thing
you
is
can
that-
make a case for this being the worst one.
I don't think like that's insane to put this below
If it
2.
wasn't for those two
I think
action
it's insane to put this
sequences.
below 3. To be
I don't have
honest.
it below 3.
I would put 2. So do we have this at the same fucking spot in our
Yeah.
Mission Impossible rankings? Then what are we talking about here? That's
Well,
what I'm talking
the
about.
question is that a
Hypercritical.
good or a bad thing?
Yes, because
ultimately,
this is
two of the movies in the franchise are awful. So like saying it's better than those means nothing.
Well, I think that you're fundamentally wrong about them being awful. I think Mission Impossible 2 is still a lot of fun. They have a dueling fucking motorcycle chase scene. Tom Cruise is free soloing on the side of a cliff. Like you are still seeing stuff that you've never seen.
No,
in a
you're
movie
right.
before.
I guess the issue is that's, to me, it's kind of much ado about nothing if I don't care about anything happening. You have spent $200 million to make me feel nothing.
300.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
maybe 400.
So a lot of it, you're right. A lot of it is like, what are you looking for in a movie?
Yeah.
Because I want the movie to definitely know it's being stupid if it's going to be like that. For example, if we're talking Mission Impossible 2, the John Woo movie that does that is Face Off. Face Off is so stupid, and it knows it, and it's just like playing in the fucking mud. And and that's why it rocks. And at McQuarrie's best, he is aware of the fact that these movies can't be 100% serious because they're absurd. The Wolf Blitzer
that's
shit.
So cool.
And which one is that in?
Fallout. Yeah.
The quote unquote best one. and there's a Wolf Blitzer fake movie studio in a mask. Like, it is the dumbest shit of all time. In the best of this entire series.
First of all,
the stupidest shit you've ever seen happens.
Get Fallout out of your motherfucking mouth. Fallout, I think, is just as good of a movie. I would put it up there with Mad Max Fury Road for the best action movies of the 21st century. So fucking get your shit in check real quick. I would put Rogue Nation up there with one of the best action movies of the 21st century. Is this movie like incredible? No, I don't even think it's like a great movie, but I do think that it is a good like blockbuster action movie. I think it's probably like on the same tier for me as Dead Reckoning. I probably on the day would put like kind of jostle back and forth on which one is better. I think this has much higher highs, and I think the Dead Reckoning has is more consistent movie. So
I guess
it's what do you want? Like, I think, do you
agree.
want to see action filmmaking at its absolute climax? Do you want to see like some of the best use of IMAX you've ever seen in your entire stupid life? Then go see this movie.
My life isn't stupid.
Wow.
The biplane scene alone at the end is worth the price of admission. I just wish it wasn't 3 hours.
Yeah. Well, listen, we're in agreement there. And here's the thing. I know there's a director's cut of this movie that's longer because
they fucked up.
They filmed stuff with Vanessa Kirby that didn't make it into this movie.
Jesus Christ.
So I give the 4-hour director cut, and then you'll bump it up a half star.
It's hard, and I haven't even seen it, so it's stupid to weigh in. But I guess one thing to sort of to acknowledge is that like we don't have a ton of precedent here for a series this long.
Yeah. The eighth
maintaining a certain standard of quality and like landing the plane, pun intended, correctly. Like, that's hard to do.
Well, he doesn't land the plane.
I guess
it burns down.
I am just like
like Nathan.
I'm a big proponent of judging each piece of the puzzle independently. That's just how I watch these things. And so I've never connected really hard with Mission Impossible because like if I had watched them in order, I would have gotten off the ride after the second one. And that would have been it. Yeah. I watched them out of order. And so I ended up, I've seen, I think, almost all of them at this point.
Yeah.
That said, I guess what you're bumping into it is like, do I have a little sunk cost fallacy going on here where like I kind of need this to be great?
Right.
Versus like, is it great?
I feel that.
Well, I mean, I think that if you did feel that way, I think this is a movie for the fans.
Yeah.
And I think that like fans
and that's okay.
do like this movie. Guess what? I'm a motherfucking fan. I am often, people are always saying this, listeners of the show, that I'm a man of the people. Mm-hmm. I'm not on some pretentious reading fucking Variety and I only like what David Ehrlich likes Island. I'm an independent thinker, and by independent I mean what the masses think. What Cinema Score says, A-, baby. That's what I give to Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning.
All right.
Kind of crazy that this guy, a 3-hour movie, got an A-, but I guess it ends on a high, and that's what the common folk think about when they walk out. So
I like McQuarrie as a screenwriter, but I think he's very flawed, and I wish that this entire series felt like the first movie.
I think that this is going to be the last one for a long time. I think, and like, here's the thing: is that if this is the last one, I don't share the same disappointment that a lot of people do, because I don't think that, like, how do you one up some of the action stuff that's in here? You can make a better movie, but I don't really know where you go from here from an action point. I want Tom Cruise to transition off of this. And it sounds like by all interviews and everything that he's done, that he has been talking about in the last month, he wants to step away from this, at least for a little while. And that's exciting.
He's an older man.
Yeah.
It's a fun movie if you can, endure the longer runtime. I didn't hate it. I enjoyed it, but it was tough. It was rough.
Sounds like you fucking hated it. Like we're gonna end up on Letterboxd. We both have this 3.5 stars.
I know.
It's like, oh, cool. Yeah, I guess we're just saying.
It's almost like this whole podcast is so stupid.
This was a good 3-minute talk on Mission Impossible that we just had.
That's Final Reckoning. we need to talk about the final reckoning of Nathan Fielder. The Rehearsal.
Speaking
season 2.
of, air, you could have done better there. This is some
Speaking of someone who like
airplane
actually
type
does
shit.
land a plane.
Speaking of
Landing-
someone
landing the plane.
endangering his life for our entertainment.
Question, do we think that because, let's be honest, our boy Miles Teller, he's fallen off. I don't have any proof that Glenn Powell actually knows how to fly a plane.
No proof.
Is Nathan going to be in the next Top Gun movie? Is he going to be the one to actually take the Tom Cruise mantle?
The Rehearsal. Season 2. We're here. We've seen it.
Yep, it's completed.
6 episodes.
It also the whole Tom Cruise discussion does sort of like play into what Nathan's exploring here, because
They're exploring basically the same thing.
one of my favorite
The skies.
one of my favorite like joke tweets that did make me think a little. I'm paraphrasing it. I think it's by Sridhar Ramesh, who's a great follow, but he as a joke, but kind of true. He was like, well, actually, Tom Cruise is a horrible actor because he has to do the thing in order to make it look like he's doing the thing.
Great bit.
What he should be doing is pretending really good, and then he'd be a good actor.
But the truth is, he is pretending every day.
That's
Be a real boy.
literally. And so that's kind of what we're exploring here in season 2 of The Rehearsal.
So I look back, and season 1 of The Rehearsal, Hunter, was your number 1 show.
Yeah.
Of that year. Drew, you had it at number 2 behind Severance. It was somewhere in my top 10. I'm blanking right now exactly where. But I'm really curious, like, now that we've seen all of season 2, how it stacks up. Do you see this as a continuation of season 1 in any way? Do you see it as its own thing? Were there any like expectations that were met or not met when you compare it to that first season?
So I see it as it is a continuation, but it largely is entirely its own thing because it's exploring one single topic. And that topic is not just the general idea of rehearsal.
Yeah.
We've moved past that, and we're moving into like using rehearsal for a specific purpose. Now that season 1 established what that is and the Fielder method and all that bullshit. This season is not constrained by COVID. I think season 1 suffered mightily because of that. It was still an incredible season of TV. I had it at number 2, but you feel it floundering, and you feel him trying to figure out what the fuck to do because he has to pivot so much. And also, like, it's his first time running a show that has zero structure or plot to it. And so obviously, like, the floor can fall out on that. And so there are some episodes in season 1 that feel completely aimless because of that. There are moments in season 2 that feel a little bit aimless, but I think season 2 is better in every single way. I love it.
I don't know if I think that it's, I think that this is another, not to use the same exact thing that I just said for Mission Impossible, but I think that the highs of season 2 are way higher than where we get to in season 1.
The Rehearsal is for the fans.
But I do think that season 1, I think, is a little bit more consistent, almost like with the through line in some ways.
Even with like the COVID shutdown. And
it's like, it still kind of keeps the same like general arc. Like once we get going, Nathan moves into the house. It's like, okay, this is kind of what we're doing now. And it's much more contained as a story. But
you got to remember,
I also think that part of the magic of season 1 is that as an audience, we didn't know what the fuck was going to happen next. By season 2, like, we are prepared and expecting anything can possibly happen.
I was also just reading episode synopsis to sort of jog my memory of how season 1 went. Him moving into the house happens later than, you know what I mean? Like,
it's like halfway through.
For a good while, the show is just like, here's this one thing, here's another thing.
The end of 3, I think.
Where he's just sort of exploring the idea in different ways, which he does in this season as well. Like, there'll be one episode where he explores it in one way, and then, and really terrorizes one guy, and then the next episode, that guy's gone and he's like bothering a new person.
Nathan moves in at the end of 2 after the Scion TC guy crashed into the Scion TC. So he moves in at the end of 2.
He finds himself up,
starts
right?
in 3.
I did want another little button from Colin, the pilot, at the end of this season.
Yeah, me too.
I wanted just a little something.
No, absolutely. If anything, he not every single little loose end got tied up. I think there are multiple reasons for that. One of which I think there's a good chance that guy no longer wanted to be a part of this production because he was being bullied incessantly.
Do you think that like he saw, he's just like, oh wait, is Nathan trying to talk about like trying to exploit all the people who are like actively autistic in the pilot community?
This is about me. So I love this season of TV. I think it's brilliant. I struggled with it a little bit throughout. But, you know, when I think about season 1 of The Rehearsal, I think about a show that found its way in the middle, that he had to pivot and he had to sort of recontextualize or rethink in some way like what he wanted the show to be. Mm-hmm. That's at least what it feels like in its final form. With season 2, especially after watching the finale, that is not the case at all. He is very clearly going for a very direct goal. Like you can tell because of the finale that he became a pilot, and because of his experience becoming a pilot, he started thinking about aviation safety and airline crashes. And then he structured this entire conceit of rehearsing the experience of pilots and co-pilots in the cockpit to create this season of television. And that is the entire goal.
Yeah. And so they sort of present you that information backwards.
Exactly.
They don't tell you he became a pilot
until the end.
Until the last episode.
Genius.
There are a lot of little touches like that where they are telling you things out of order and you don't even catch them the first time. For example, this is getting way ahead. I guess are we spoiling yet or no?
We got to talk about it. Yeah. We got to spoil to talk about it.
Not to get way ahead, but another small example of this is when he, at the very end, he's like, yeah, so now in my free time, I work for this company where I drive empty 737s. I bet you anything, after the simulation step, he started doing that to really drive 737s, and then he drove the one full of people.
Yeah, I'm sure because based on like whenever they first tell him like, wait, you just go from driving the sim to just driving actual people.
I'm sure he found a way to drive real 737s, but he doesn't tell you that because he is crafting fiction out of reality.
Has he said in any of the interviews like when he actually started flying, not even just 737s, but like when he first got a pilot's license?
It's like 2 years. It says 2 years earlier is the cut that we get.
Yeah, exactly.
So I wonder but I really wonder how long he was filming the season for, because the season itself takes place at least over the course of like a year.
Yeah.
So like maybe it was a few months before, something like that.
Yeah. So maybe he starts flying, and then maybe like
he
6 to 8
hears some stories about like crashes,
into it.
Plane crashes happening.
Yeah.
He's like, what?
Well, I mean, think about it. He's also making season 1 of The Rehearsal and The Curse. Mm-hmm. And he's got to be at least somewhat involved in How To with John Wilson.
Yeah.
So the whole time he's just in his spare time getting his pilot's license. And this is brewing, right? You know, and he's thinking about like, what is season 2 going to be? Because there is no way, there is 0% chance that when we got the season 2 announcement of The Rehearsal, that he already knew what it was going to be.
I doubt it. It's also I mean, a lot of like the hallmarks of just what Nathan does are baked into this premise, right? Because much like in a lot of the better episodes of Nathan For You, the idea he's presenting is valid. And in this one, especially so. He didn't make up this. He's not the first person to make this observation that the lion's share of modern airline disasters are caused by communication issues between pilots. There's a chapter in the book Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell about this. A lot of people don't remember this because it makes no sense that it's in that book. It has nothing to do with Outliers.
Oh, I thought you were going to say just because of like who Malcolm Gladwell may or may not have become as a person.
Well, and also like
you should have had him on the show.
And also there's hey, speaking of flight logs and Malcolm Gladwell.
Hey, brother.
Well, also parts of Malcolm's sort of discussion on that have been discredited because Malcolm very intentionally mistranslated Korean in order to make his point better when he didn't have to do that.
Yeah, like there already are the records.
But
there.
Generally, a lot of what Nathan does feels sort of like how Gladwell writes, where he is starting with a base premise and he wants to approach it scientifically, but also what's more important to him is entertaining people and creating a narrative. And so he fucks with the facts a little bit.
Yeah.
The difference is that Malcolm wants to be taken more seriously than Nathan does.
Well, I think that's probably like the biggest takeaway from the Rehearsal season 2 for me is that I think that like the blurring of the lines from Nathan Fielder as the person and Nathan Fielder the character, like we might have just like reached full assimilation of the two. Like by the end of this, you can see it on Nathan's face. Like he's not acting there. Like his moments of like pure joy whenever he's actually flying the plane and he lands successfully. Oh yeah. Like that's just fully Nathan just like proud of himself in that moment.
And it's also, I mean, even though there's an amount of acting by Nathan in this season, and like some of that is what I rubbed up against the most during the season is when like we are supposed to be believing that he's not acting and he is. That's when I feel bothered. However, we are finally just like putting, saying the thing that like all of Nathan's content is always getting at, which is him discovering he has autism. That's what everything he makes is about. Yeah. Is about him trying to figure out why he's like this. And it works to varying degrees. The thing with Nathan for you is that it is such a structured show and such it is so rooted in parody that is never the main focus. But I think a lot of what he does in this season of The Rehearsal, the DNA of it is all over Nathan for you. As particularly, I was thinking a lot about The Hero. Which is in
the tightrope
when you were watching what was it, like Cassie Kiss Me.
That where he's trying to make something special. But generally, this is a classic move in the Nathan playbook. It happens in season 1 of The Rehearsal too, where he embarks on something that is so ambitious. And then once he realizes that he can't actually accomplish that thing, whether it be perfectly creating an ideal life for this crazy lady who sucks in season 1, which by the way, that was half of my issue was I just fucking hated that lady. Yeah. Did not want to watch her on my TV.
I think that's kind of the point by the end of it.
So whether
we should revisit her thoughts on the Israel-Palestine conflict.
So whether it's that in The Hero, again, like he had this insanely ambitious idea, which was immediately not valid because the first step of it, which is like him putting on that face, he didn't look anything like him. There are interviews with like, the girl who played his girlfriend or whatever. They all knew there was someone in there. Like they knew something was going on. So what he does, and in this season also, where he almost, it seems like intentionally stops himself from accomplishing what he really is trying to, which is creating real reform. So when the idea becomes too big and he realizes he can't do it, the Nathan move is to then turn the narrative inward and make it about him discovering something about himself and becoming like, why do I even want to do this? What's wrong with me?
Am I autistic?
The end of The Hero is him, taking off the makeup and staring at himself in the mirror. And it is the most, to that point, in Nathan's view, that we had ever really seen Nathan consider himself.
Yeah.
And this is what we're getting at, especially in season 2 here. We're watching Nathan sort of figure out, why am I like this? Now, the issues with the season come, like I said, when we are led to believe that he is not pretending and he is, because I guess I should know it shouldn't be a surprise that he would be trying to deceive the viewers. That's kind of all that he does, but it's frustrating when it doesn't work. That's all. I
mean, isn't part of the magic of the Nathan experience and of The Rehearsal of writing that line and constantly trying to guess? Like one of the best moments of this season is the Paramount Plus Nazi apologist,
which doesn't really have anything to do with anything about like what the central part of the show is, but that's also what makes the show genius is that meandering, going off the beaten path.
But just the moment when he's in the like recreation of like the Third Reich control castle hall of Paramount Plus with the SS Paramount Plus soldiers in the courtyard marching, and he's talking to the fake rehearsal version of the Paramount Plus Nazi executive. And he asked the guy to like drop the act and stop reading the script.
And then that guy starts reading a much better script.
Yes.
Yeah.
But under the guise of
it being
just
real.
Speaking his mind.
Being like, I'm just an actor, but here's some very poignant analysis of what you're doing, Nathan.
That
works.
What I love about this show.
That totally works. You're right. So there are times when it works great. Again, I mean, it's just the biggest thing is when you are making a series with no structure, it's different than making a documentary, a single, standing piece of work. Because if you're making a series, especially on HBO that's dropping weekly, you might just get a whole episode that doesn't feel like anything happens. And that's okay because like
the penultimate one here when he goes to talk to the
second to last episode
the house rep.
Is really, really weak to me for a few reasons.
Well, I think that it becomes you need now after seeing the finale, like it makes sense. You need that penultimate episode to be there to have a little bit of a tone shift. Like I think that the ending wouldn't fully work without the penultimate episode to be like, hey, we're gonna kind of like not be funny for like an extended period of time here, and like we're gonna make you feel emotions because this is also gonna be about self-discovery. You don't get that without the penultimate episode. But yeah, I mean, I agree. Like that's not the highlight of the season or anything. I think that even the pilot's code episode, which is like might be like again the highest highs of the season.
With the crowd of
Sully. No. That is the Sully episode. But before that, we have like the people that like are cloning their dogs and the recreation of the cloning world.
So,
and I'm like,
before we even get to Sully.
What's happening right now?
Yeah.
And then that happens, and then we are baby Sully.
Exactly.
And it's almost just like have we completely gone off the train tracks? Like, how is this plane going to land?
It is so. That episode it might be my favorite episode of anything Nathan's ever made because it is really so good. It is so unbelievably insane.
It's great. I'm being critical just of not even critical, but just like that as you're watching in the moment of like what is happening right now.
Well,
where have we completely lost?
So this is sort of generally like this is obviously something that people bump into when they're watching Nathan stuff. It's not something that bothers me because I think watching Nathan for you, it's easy. Because you're watching something that's sort of like about an idiot who thinks he's helping people, but he's not. Like he's very much like just a character in Nathan for you. But it is based on him.
He's trying to find a friend.
He's the Wizard of Loneliness.
But it's sort of easy to forget that everything he does and every grand production, every idea he has in that show is not actually trying to do anything. Like, you know what I mean? He's not trying to help these people. He's trying to take them on a ride.
He's trying to make good TV.
And so I'm not bothered when in the rehearsal he does something that seems like an insane waste of resources for nothing, because that's what he does.
Well, that's what we're here to watch.
That's his whole thing.
Yeah, I'm not like bothered by it, but like it's almost like it then almost becomes more jarring isn't even the right word for it, because I think that the rehearsal
It's confounding.
has a lot more. Yeah, confounding is probably the best word for it. Like it's perplexing as you were watching it happen, because in some of the other moments where we're going on tangents, like there's some intentionality behind it. Like thinking of the Kiss Me episode with our boy Colin, that is something where it is very elaborate and is just taking this man who is like very obviously just like extremely socially awkward and is probably never like hugged a woman before, much less like kissed a girl.
Yeah. It's like borderline cruel.
It is. It kind of feels exploitative. Like
it's
that
so
was
mean.
That was the one that Gaia, I think, had the hardest time watching. She was like, I might have to leave the room.
Yeah.
I don't think I can.
Yeah, it's just him bullying
anymore.
autistic man.
But like, it kind of does. Like that circles back in on the whole point of the show, because one is showing about like a pilot who's afraid to speak up. It's specifically talking about like, could we use role playing and like try to find some kind of a breakthrough to get out of your comfort zone here.
Also, just like intimate scenes and acting and how weird that is.
Oh my God. Also the two, and then bringing in the best part of that entire episode is whenever there's like the two actors that are just straight up like fucking on a couch. So then they bring in their boyfriends and just like have to sit there and just like watch them like like fucks my
you're
elf. And
okay
it's
with
like,
this, right?
he's like, yeah, no, I mean, she's a really good actor. I don't know what to say.
Again, this is that's another recurring theme of Nathan's work is he's really fascinated by how intimacy is allowed if you're acting.
Yeah.
It also comes
so
into
it's the autism.
It comes into play in the soundproof box episode of Nathan
Yes.
where he makes the
The
couple
orgy.
watch a couple that fuck while saying the couple's names. It was heavy vibes of that, of just
while just seeing their child just being like,
and him just like watching them watch that and being like, so this is good, right? You like this?
Like, kid is in the box.
Yeah, like he loves the idea of what, I mean, really what Nathan's obsessed with is like getting away with stuff.
Yeah.
Like what you can get away with under the guise of entertainment and production.
Well, we got to go back to Pilot's Code because we need to just like highlight, bold, italicize, underline what he does in this episode. I think has been Rehearsal season 1 was a moment. It was pretty widely watched. I think this is like maybe 2 to 5 times, mainly because of this episode, seeing him recreate Sully, portrayed by Tom Hanks in the film Sully, the real pilot who landed the plane on the Hudson River, recreate this man's life in excruciating detail from birth, from infancy, with large hand mom on stilts.
It's the most Charlie Kaufman thing I've ever seen in my whole life. It's so crazy.
The shot of him gagging
on the milk,
waterboarded by milk, going, oh fuck.
I am not the same. I am not the same person I was before I watched that.
Yeah, it is a marvel of cinema. It is one of
it's art.
It's one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life. Just the absolute shock and awe of it, especially coming after the dog cloning thing. Yeah. Which is a lot more of like it almost feels like a mix of Nathan and like a John Wilson type thing where like it's more of just like an exploration of a topic really quick.
Going down a route.
Yeah, and then you go to this super pointed like artistic vision of a segment. It is just pure vision. Like the production, design choices. And again, speaking to the Kaufman portion of it, you watch him build the sets and then you watch him live in them. I mean, like it's so cool.
It's Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. It's those scenes where when they become baby.
So, and so I could
oversized crib.
I could see people being frustrated if they want to believe that Nathan really thinks all this would work, but he doesn't. He's doing this because he can justify it.
So
by saying theory, that what if I thought this would work? He knows it's not going to work.
It's what does he call it? Like personality implant or something?
Yeah, transplant.
Yes. If he can make every pilot have the personality of Captain Sully,
like he knows that
there would be no plane crashes.
It's just vision. It's just putting art on the fucking TV. It is so fucking good.
I also, man, to tie this episode together with the theory that Sully, right before like doing the miracle on the Hudson, listened to the chorus of Bring Me to Life by Evanescence, because it was exactly that period of time. It was exactly that many seconds of silence. Phenomenal.
And his
How
iPod
many
was
songs
found.
did they fucking listen to before they were just like, what is the
he
one?
mentions it in the book.
He mentions a couple different tracks on there. So that meant like that triggered something in Nathan. And Nathan's like, fuck, let's find which one is it going to be. And Bring Me to Life. And is like, this is it. This is perfect.
The shots of Nathan as Sully listening to the iPod. It's just in the simulation cockpit.
It's just a great mix because he is genuinely he is obsessed with this particular topic genuinely. He does get that deep into Sully's autobiography. He is analyzing it page by page.
Yeah, he has it all laid out on a big table.
Yes, and yet the plan he formulates out of that, he knows is dumb. Like it almost reminds me of the Einstein quote where Einstein says like, I'm actually not that smart. I'm just really good at dedicating a lot of time to one thing.
I thought you were going to say the girl that thinks that Einstein's hot.
We'll get to her. But that's
wet dreams.
I always think this when I think about Nathan though, is that is more than anything, his superpower is dedicating all of his time and energy into an idea that he fully commits to, even though it might all unravel because like he's in real life doing this stuff. And also, even though he knows it's not going to work or it's stupid, he still puts so much energy into dumb things.
Yeah.
The average person who has his brain is putting all their energy into like personal gain, like making like, you know, like being a psycho on the stock market or whatever. Like
Mr. Beast.
He has that sort of brain, and he uses it to make art. And that is such a rare combination. The commitment.
It's creating a new version of art, which I think is what we talked about during the first season of Rehearsal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I think in this one, it's so different because, you know, in Rehearsal season 1, he very much brought it to a place of analyzing his own psychology, which is the same thing that he ended with Nathan For You with Finding Francis. Like he's kind of arriving at the same place, and he does it again here in an entirely new way. Like he's still able to scrape different nooks and crannies of the character of Nathan, to the point that as this season is concluding, you start to wonder if you're still seeing the character. Like truly.
I mean,
to put this amount of time into aviation, it can't be a character.
No,
anymore.
it's not a bit anymore. Like that's kind of the big thing is you don't put tens of thousands of hours into something and it just be like, it's all like a bit now. I'm just gonna like
it's not
find a different special interest. Like
no, this is the type of guy this is. He's a fucking freak. He is autistic.
To that point, I'm like, what even isn't left for Nathan like as like an entertainer anymore? Like if he was just like, hey, I'm taking some time away from a comedy to just like work for like doing some fucking pilot bullshit wherever,
transferring large planes around,
I'd believe it. I would 100% believe it. Like that's
exactly. He has a really, it's just a very rare combination. Your average comedian is on the opposite end of the spectrum. They're, even if they're introspective, it's very like comedy as a career choice is a very like ADHD brain decision to make. People with the comedians tend to have ADHD. There's a lot of overlap there. It's been like well discussed and written about. And he's the exact opposite of that. Like whatever he does, he is capable of such intense focus. And he's interested in other things. I think where I get hung up is in episode 5 when what we're supposed to be watching is, and you weren't here when I said, Ernest, but like what you're saying about like us still finding new dimensions of the character Nathan. Yeah, this season they just say it like he has autism. Yeah. Like you know what I mean? That's what all the shit's always been about.
He still makes a plot point.
Yeah,
out of it.
Well, so yeah, exactly. That's why I get bothered in episode 5, because when we're supposed to be believing that he is genuinely taking that eye test for the first time,
I don't think we're supposed to be believing.
A lot of people did. People, I mean, people do. I don't know.
I mean, he might have never taken an autism test though.
No, the man who rehearses everything is not being shown something on a laptop for the first time ever. No, that's just not how it works.
Not that, but I meant like that might have actually been his first time talking to an autism doctor. I don't know if he's actually somebody who like
he is not getting blindsided by the production that he planned.
I don't
that's
mean it
not
like that.
What's happening.
I don't mean it like that. I meant like I think that it's almost like, and I don't mean it necessarily as a like. He isn't aware of like how that scene is going to go. I mean it more so as like if we are reading more big picture into especially the finale and this whole like willful ignorance of everything. Maybe that is kind of his point is like, hey, I've lived my whole life and been happy enough not having a diagnosis thrown on me. Mm-hmm. Why would I put myself out here? Whether it's for a pilot's license, whether it's for a job application, whether it's for a doctor's visit that I might go see. Sometimes it's better to just not know and just like willfully go through the world. I've lived through and I think that in that way, I don't think that like maybe he has never gone to like an autism doctor before.
No, I fully believe that. It's just like he has thought plenty about like.
I think it's purposefully getting like the answers wrong and like that specific.
No, exactly. Like watching him act stinks because he's not a great actor. Again, like he's best when he's mixing acting and reality, but when we're supposed to be buying that he's like, yeah, she's upset or whatever, and he's not doing a good job of pretending. You know what I mean? And also just the idea of him being blindsided and shown something new on the show that he not only plans but also clearly has the brain to obsessively rehearse for is like, hey, I'm not dumb, guy.
Right.
And so it gets frustrating, but also like he needs to go to her to get the okay to use children, because and honestly, he
caught flack for season 1.
I also am willing to say at this point that I was upset by season 1. I don't think he did it on purpose, but it hurt to watch that kid be hurt.
The pretend daddy.
The kid was hurt by season 1 of the rehearsal, and that was sad to see.
He thought Nathan was his mom.
But again, so episode 5 has the most acting by Nathan because it has that segment, and then it has his meeting with the congressman, which is used as a plot point to sort of further his arc of discovering he's autistic, where he's like, I actually chose to not rehearse this because I don't need that because I'm not autistic. You know what I mean? And it's like, that's good. So funny. That's good and all, but it frustrated me because he intentionally brought a bad product to this congressman in a way. And I thought that he was going to really thought he was really going to take this thing all the way, and he chose not to. And that's okay. It's not like it was going to get anywhere anyway, but he intentionally brought him a horrible version of his plan.
So, well, I do want to, because I wonder about that specifically, about like what we saw versus what happened in the meeting itself, especially before we started recording, we watched Nathan Fielder was just on CNN yesterday, or like a couple days ago.
Which I choose to believe is an extension of the Rehearsal season 2.
Do you think that he rehearsed with Wolf Blitzer before going on? No, but like they say on there that was part of a 45-minute interview that they did together. So it is purposefully cutting around part of the spot, and it's showing more of like the stuttering kind of things.
So you're right about that. However, the package that he presents this man is something that no one would ever say yes to, and Nathan knows that. The video he shows him is dumb as fuck. The idea, he's so close to a really valid idea of like getting these people to rehearse the scenario,
role play.
And yet what he actually delivers is, hey, the whole flight you need to be playing a character, which he knows that no one would ever say yes to actually doing that. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I was upset because I thought he was really going to bring a valid idea to these people, and he didn't. That's okay though, because by episode 6, he's turned fully inward. Yeah. And you get a personal victory.
But earlier in the season, Nathan has been supposedly navigating this topic in a serious way. I mean, that's how the first episode starts, right? That he's approaching the topic.
Well, that's what I'm saying is it disappointed me in Ep 5 because we're led to believe that he really wants to bring this to the finish line. And in Ep 5, he deliberately chooses not to.
Right.
And so it upset me. However, knowing that there was an episode left, I was like, well, I bet Ep 6 is going to bring something else.
But if you look at the entire season, it is really funny to look at it like, oh, he starts wanting to be very serious about it, but somewhere along the line, he just kind of drops it and he's like, well, I kind of just care about me. And what's going on? What's going on with me?
Well, again, this is the classic Nathan move. He's so ambitious in his ideas, and I think he just reaches a point where he realizes that it's not possible.
Yeah.
Like the hero just wasn't possible.
Well, it also might be a little bit of like, hey, this is a real problem and I don't really know how to fix it.
Yeah.
But I think that it's almost just like, it's more of like bringing awareness to it and like, hey, maybe we don't necessarily need to have First Officer Blunt and Captain Alliers, but we got to fucking figure out something. Like,
I know.
I think that is almost
it's
more
like
of my
Summit
takeaway
Ice. We're bringing
this.
awareness.
It's just bringing awareness.
We're just saying
unlike what the good
6 million passengers died.
Unlike what Paramount Plus wants you to.
They want to silence.
No, you're right. That's sort of where we end up. And I came to appreciate that because the finale delivered something anyway. Before we haven't even gotten into like the meat of what happens in the
We've even gotten to Wings of Voice.
Well, exactly. The first couple episodes. So again, the first few episodes are like him in his bag, Gladwelling it, exploring the concept through different avenues that feel scientific yet are still giving you
He
art.
built a fucking airport set.
He built an airport. So this season,
The terminal.
This-
He did the terminal.
The Houston airport, an airport that I have been in before.
Does it look like?
Or-
It looks just like.
or have you?
Crazy.
Oh,
Fuck. Dude.
Did you go there as part of your special group of friends that we put you in?
Yeah.
We're-
I was like with a group. It was like a bunch of other like kids about my age.
Were you wearing matching
group or so.
t-shirts, Hunter?
Yeah, we were wearing matching t-shirts. It was I just wanted to make sure like I wasn't nervous for whenever I played.
So this season brings you like what I would call the holy trinity of types of guys that Nathan loves to put on camera. The first is your completely average guy. This is episode 1, the young pilot.
Oh,
that guy.
Yes.
He is your
Totally forgot
your
about this.
stock,
Moody,
your
our
stock
boy
character
Moody.
average guy.
Let me
on
tell
TikTok.
you, Moody is big on TikTok
Yeah.
right now. That guy has nothing to say.
No.
just
He's a moron.
Not a lick interesting
Nathan-
coming out of that guy.
Nathan really gravitates towards these guys because they're very pliable. You can kind of do whatever you want to them.
Him
You can
laying
kind
with
of
his feet kicked up on his bed.
laying on the
So
guy's
good.
bed. It's amazing. You can convince this type of guy to confront his girlfriend on camera. You know what I mean?
Could not believe that.
It is so, it's incredible. And it's just like a footnote in the season that he gets him to do this. But like their relationship, I feel like must have truly suffered.
Oh, they're definitely
no
broken up.
relationship.
There's no way.
They broke up immediately after they filmed.
Yeah. So the Moody is guy number 1. I'm trying to figure out who comes first.
Oh no. Well, then we get. I think his name is Jeff. Who has
Oh
been
my God,
banned from
fucking
every
Jeff.
dating app.
That's guy number 2. He is the
worst person you've ever met in your entire life
Yeah.
that has no idea that
He
they're
is
such a
somehow
terrible
the
person.
best pilot of all these guys.
guy number 2 is the super aggressive guy who will say anything on camera
Yeah.
and does not think twice. The amount of shit he is just giving away is absolutely nuts.
It is incredible that they are like. It's just like you're like going fishing and they're just fucking biting straight onto the hook.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to like put a worm on that thing. They're just like, we're just gonna put you in a cockpit with a woman. We're just gonna see what happens. And he
I know.
just can't fucking help
that
himself.
poor angel of a woman. She is such a
She's
good
so
person.
sweet.
And then your third guy is autistic. It's Colin.
Yeah.
It's your Colin. That is your the hero guy. You know,
Yeah.
he loves those guys because putting a camera on them and making
Like,
them do anything
They're so nervous.
is so brutal. And you see, but it's in a very human way. It's almost the same appeal as watching Love on the Spectrum, like where you're like, you're seeing a refraction of yourself.
Do you think Colin would do good on Love on
I
the
think
Spectrum?
that no.
No.
I think he would do pretty bad on Love on the Spectrum.
Would he
actually.
kiss the girl on the cheek or?
Yeah.
Honestly, the thing is, like, all of them, none of them be fucking on that show except one girl. And things are tough for
There's
her.
our girl.
Her finding an autistic guy who's willing to fuck is like impossible.
The kiss on the cheek, like that obliterated me.
It hurts. It hurts so bad.
That was real tough.
It hurts.
I wanted to turn it off.
It's really bad.
So
it's good that's the very end of the episode because I was like, I can't do this.
if there's a cardinal sin of the show, I think it's one of those things where it's like, I guess I can't blame the show because I want this to be like a 12 episode show.
We needed a Wings of Voice episode.
I want to watch so much Wings of Voice. I want to watch every episode. It is so fucking entertaining.
Did you read the article that Ernest, I think that you linked?
So
the woman who was wronged.
Who wanted her 15 minutes of fame by talking about how
paid thousands of dollars to fly
giving
back
them
and
thousands of dollars and then I didn't get a thing. It's like, well, honey, that's on you. Also read a fucking contract before you go sign it.
Well, also
you're
like
doing these things
suss out the premise of the show you're going on.
Also,
HBO Wings of Voice.
Do one Google search, like just like one.
So you're telling me
about
I get
what's
to be on a singing show that's judged by pilots? Sounds great to me. Sounds like a hit.
Yeah,
on
I probably
HBO?
shouldn't
Fucking
look up
idiot.
anything about this.
Yeah. So she was interviewed by what was it, Variety or something?
Yeah, I think
that's right.
And she was very upset about it. She then immediately released a song about how upset she was.
Yeah.
Also, they found a bunch of old like thirsty-esque posts of her like thirsting over Nathan.
No way.
Wait,
Yeah, no
seriously?
fucking
I
way.
missed that. Oh man.
So yeah, she is
or at least commenting on his post.
that's crazy. So yeah, she's 100% just like trying to get money.
But Wings of Voice, the fact that the whole thing is just we have to see who can sing Amazing Grace the best.
And this is another core tenet of what Nathan explores in his show, which is that particularly in episode 2, reality television is the most psychopathic form of entertainment that there is. What you are doing to real people when you make any reality show is cruel, and like you should be arrested. I didn't know that he had worked on Canadian Idol. And he had like literally the perfect job for himself, because that when I discovered this about reality TV when I was a kid, I was fascinated. I was like, this is so fucked. Like they are just torturing people for no good reason other than entertainment. So what Nathan is saying, like, especially Nathan for you, is like, okay, so what if I torture them for reality TV, but for funny instead of like for like a fake stupid show? That's what he's exploring in Wings of Voice, because like you really do feel for some of the people on that episode. And then you remember, oh yeah, this is happening everywhere all the time. There are probably 5 to 10 very, very popular reality singing competition shows that do this exact audition process.
Yeah.
And they're like trapped.
And are just ripping the hearts out of children like every single day. And so it's like, okay, so if he does it, why should I feel worse? Like he's doing it. He's just doing it knowing that these people are not going to get anything. But in reality, 99% of them are not going to get anything anyway.
I'm sure that like whoever was on it and got like a fucking check for like $5,000 or $10,000 because you have to get paid if you're on television.
And guess what?
So,
the girl who won, she sang good. She had a really great rendition of Bring Me to Life at the end.
Guy and I had this question.
Great.
Are we sure that she wasn't just a hired singer who was just brought in at the very end? Are we sure that she was actually involved in Wings of Voice the entire time?
I think she was a contestant.
She was? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I did not know because she like actually hams it up for the screen and everything. So you know what? I hope she got some money.
Either way, it would make sense, because they're like, oh, how does it feel? Oh my God. And she's like, wow, it's been a crazy journey. It's been a lot of traveling. So what I would imagine is like multiple times they made her like fly home and then back and then home and then back. And she was like, what do you mean? Like, I've done like 3 shoots and now I'm winning the show. Like, okay, all right, cool. She had nothing to say about the process other than she had to travel a lot.
Again, the fact that nobody was asking questions this entire time, that's just like, yeah, American Idol, whenever you're out there, you go, you sing a song, you fly home for 3 weeks, and then they'll call you and tell you if you made it to the back, and then you have to pay on your own money to fly back out there.
But yeah,
fucking stupid. So people are so dumb.
So again, getting into the idea that he wants to combine sort of scientific process with entertainment.
Hold on. I was just going to clarify the claim that I made. What she did, she didn't leave comments. She used comments for the lyrics of the song. She pulled comments from
like
Nathan's
negative
posts.
Comments about Nathan, or like thirsty comments about
Just
Nathan?
all kinds.
So should we listen to the song?
Please don't torture kids anymore. Adults are okay to torture. That kind of thing.
Oh, she specifically, what a great lyric that would make for
the song is called Nathan Fielder, by the way.
I'm sure it's going to work out really great for her.
Yeah.
I'm sure that she'll have a long career.
There's also
I heard she
another
got
song.
signed to Universal Music. So
go
ahead.
4 album.
That's absolutely brutal. The idea of, I don't know. I guess maybe she's trying to do like a beef, like a Kendrick Drake thing.
Yeah.
Maybe she's hoping he'll have a retort.
Yeah.
Nathan's
like, well, I think you're a pedophile. So
okay. So yeah, the idea of sort of approaching this in a scientific way, but really in the name of entertainment, is very much seen in this episode. The process of doing these auditions and then making them leave the anonymous, the rating outside in a box is so science experiment brained. Like it is, you know what I mean? It's as objective of a science experiment as you could possibly have.
But then he finds a way to flip it on himself.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. He finds a way. And again, I don't like, I don't believe, or I don't know if that's the actual number she left, where it's a 6, but you can flip it and see it as a 9.
That's
It's really good.
That's so good.
That is such like narrative perfection.
Yeah, perfect way to end an episode.
It is so special what he did. But again, it's him starting from a place of objective fact and science, and then turning it into weaving it into his own story. Yeah. It's so cool.
I mean, I keep thinking a lot about the tracks of Nathan investigating his own personal desires to feel accepted, and this quest of aviation and pilot communication and safety. And I keep sort of wondering like where these two intersect and the ways in which he is successfully able to sort of merge these two tracks. And I'm not sure exactly like where I land on it, but I keep thinking a lot about little moments like that, like things where you think he's going one way and then he sort of turns around and goes another way. The ending of Pilot's Code, where he, as Sully, walks into the therapist office, right? Like that is a dialogue wordless moment, but it's so poignant because you're thinking a lot about what pilots are not allowed to do because of the fear of their license being revoked.
Yeah.
They can't accept mental health realities because then they don't have a career. Like that's a thing, right? But then also you think about Nathan's own journey with mental health, right?
Could not tell you if he sees a therapist.
Yeah.
Considering the brain type he has and what a insane workaholic he is, I would imagine no.
Talk
His
therapy
cats.
I don't think would be a good thing for
No.
him. Like as if he was going to do some kind of therapy, I don't think it's traditional.
His cats are his therapist.
Yeah, and so ultimately this is probably as deep as he's willing to get, of like as genuine as he is. Like, is that amount of acting, that amount of artifice, while still like
Yeah, he would rehearse therapy. He would hire a therapist.
So
actor.
let me
to make sure that he's like doing it right.
one thing that's really interesting though, that I can't believe I haven't mentioned it yet, is the central premise of this issue is almost identical to what it is that the fascination that inspired him to make Nathan For You, which is this is really old, but there's an old AV Club interview where John Teddy, who used to run AV Club, had Nathan talk to like his mom, to John Teddy's mom, because John Teddy's mom did not like Nathan. And so they had a phone conversation. And in that phone conversation, Nathan explains to her that the reason he got into Nathan For You is because he developed a fixation on the 2008 financial crisis.
Yes, I remember this.
And the reason, and the fact that the reason that the entire economy collapsed really boiled down to a series of boardrooms across the country where a bunch of people were too scared to speak up. And so they kept allowing these horrible loans and mortgages to keep going through just because they were scared to say, hey, this is crazy. We're creating a bubble.
No one was Captain Blunt.
Exactly.
First Officer Blunt.
It is the exact same premise as this airline thing of like, there is a power dynamic and a social awkwardness. There is a presence of that in a room, and it causes destruction, and yet no one ever does anything.
No one wants to pierce through the awkwardness.
Well, and so he basically figures out, what if I use that power dynamic thing and that awkwardness to make people do things on camera?
And that's Nathan For You.
Yeah.
And do we think that Nathan's a big fan of the film The Big Short?
Absolutely.
Then it's
it's such an exact mirror to his inspiration for like his original masterpiece. And it really fascinates me that he's obsessed with these things. I almost want to like try to track what the next version of that is, because that might be what season 3 is about. You know what I mean? If there is one. Another example of social pressures causing insane destruction that could easily be fixed.
I mean, I think that at this point, if there is a season 3, which I mean, there's still no word on, I'm sure for HBO, like this is as big of a hit as a show like this can be for HBO. Like it's getting the critical appraisal, it's getting some of like the viral moments online, which I think is all that HBO could really ask for from a show like this. So I'm sure that he's got the green light to make it if he wants to. I don't really know how we now like unseparate the character Nathan from real life Nathan. I think that like they have to, from jump of season 3, be some kind of a deeper exploration of Nathan Fielder as a person, because it would feel weird at this point to go back to him like fully acting and being like, yeah, no, this is just a generic bit. It has nothing to do with me exploring myself as a person, because of how personal we've gotten, starting with season 1 and now especially with this season.
Yeah, it would start to feel formulaic almost.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it almost like how BoJack Horseman started feeling, where like everything starts happy and then you're like, oh, I wonder if BoJack's gonna fuck it up this season. You know what I mean?
I'm sorry in advance. I don't mean to rag on Mission again, but as much as I love the final set piece of that movie, it is almost exactly structurally a copy paste of the climax of Fallout. Big aerial dueling battle with bomb diffused by secondary team. They're just doing it again. So with the rehearsal, you're almost thinking like going into a season 3, like, okay,
this guy doesn't like to see Tom Cruise jump from one fucking airplane to another.
I loved it. I had a great time. I had a great time.
This guy.
But you're thinking the whole time, like, okay, they kind of already did this. In a potential rehearsal season 3, I would be thinking like, okay, what storied Tom Hanks role is Nathan going to painfully recreate every step of his life? And will it be Finch?
Yeah.
Or will it be Forrest Gump? Will we see a Gump? Nathan?
Will it be here? Will the whole season be just one? It's in one.
It's all I'm going to be thinking about. Like, what painful recreation are we going to get? It's going to break my immersion.
I don't know what he does.
I don't really know where you go from here. Did we know that season 2 was happening when season 1 ended, or had some time?
As soon as it ended?
That's what I thought. Is that it was pretty immediate that it at least got greenlit. There was no like timetable for it, but
I'm trying to look it up now. There is nothing lined up for Nathan after this.
Yeah.
All it says. So have you guys read the Wikipedia?
Where are we at on the Curse season 2? Has Paramount answered the calls or no?
Nothing.
Oh, okay.
Nothing.
Okay.
This is what it says under Nathan Fielder's personal life section on Wikipedia.
Is it just like he got divorced like 10 years ago?
It says Fielder was married to a children's librarian. They divorced in 2014. He is incorrectly listed as a female on his U.S. green card. He lives in Silver Lake, Los Angeles. He became an FAA certified 737 commercial pilot in 2025.
Yeah. So that's what's the most fast.
That's his whole
2025.
Yeah.
Did he just now get his commercial license like earlier this year?
It just happened.
Wow.
Well, maybe he just the 737 part at least.
That part just happened.
Yeah, he was flying planes for 2 years. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is sort of like the final piece for Nathan, which we may never get to,
at least in front of the camera.
And that's okay. He is for the amount that he explores himself, we actually know almost nothing about him. He is a complete enigma of a person, and it's very much on purpose. Again, you know, he's obsessed with magic. He's obsessed with flashing one thing and really hiding what's actually going on. I don't know if he's ever going to be willing to actually strip again, because again, like, who is
right?
The amount that he's already given us is more than any of us would ever put on national television. It's just the idea of like, he chooses to explore his own internal life like this. Are you really going to do it or no? Yeah. I'm not going to blame him if he doesn't, but it would be interesting.
Wasn't he working on, didn't another project get announced? I can't find anything about it, but I remember.
I did double check that he has literally nothing lined up next, which is kind of crazy. But that's why it's just like, well, is he just ever going to do anything again, or is this the last we'll ever see Nathan in front of the camera, unless it's like on CNN talking about how we need more Captain?
I don't know, because when you watch him go on like Kimmel or on like CNN, he's enjoying it. Like, it's not like he's like this like pained artist who's like, okay, I'd actually much rather be behind the scenes.
Yeah.
He seems to really enjoy being on camera. Like, So I don't think he's just going to go away.
Yeah, because he does like the not like the attention, but like I think that he does kind of like a little bit of he's somebody who's just like a fucking nerd his whole life. So like
and I think it's sort of it gives him like the fact that he's able to make this character of himself allows him to use what actually has always stopped him from being liked to be liked. You know,
well, I'm almost wondering like the more we feed his ego and his what seems to be like desire to be beloved, that maybe there is no end to this. Maybe it just like, we don't know. We are living in the time of the new Leonardo da Vinci of like, we don't know how big this gets, right? Like he has not made his Mona Lisa yet.
he's just a rare bird because, you know, like I said, your average comedian doesn't have the brain to actually assemble all the things he assembles. Also, your average person who lives in this ambiguous world of like being a character all the time is like insane or like on drugs or like Andy Kaufman.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he's who a lot of people point to as like a proto Nathan, but like that guy was just like crazy and like on coke.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Nathan's just autistic.
He wasn't like, well, he was very capable of like being a mystery and always being in character, but he wasn't capable of like creating this universe.
Yeah.
Like this guy has like scary power.
So I found
scary. His abilities are terrifying.
I found the project.
I mean, in the raw, like this man could just be a murderer. Like if this was in a different person,
that's what I'm saying.
He is a sociopath.
He could get away with like anything.
Yeah.
We found out like he invaded Ukraine. So I found the project. He is not directing. He is producing alongside Emma Stone, who is like now becoming like a storied producer of incredible projects. If you just look up Emma Stone producing credits on IMDb, it's amazing. The Magnus Carlsen, Hans Niemann
butt plug
checkmate scandal.
The butt plug scandal.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's cool. Is it a show
Okay.
that they're doing, or is it a movie?
So apparently there is a book that has not come out yet called Checkmate by Ben Mesrick,
Creative name, Ben.
known for writing books that would later be adapted into films such as The Social Network and Dumb Money.
Yeah.
So that there's enough there that Ben Mesrick is writing a book, first of all.
I don't think so.
About the butt plug scandal.
But it doesn't have to be real. That's the thing. Like they can just make up whatever they want.
Absolutely. Who do you guys want to play Magnus? Who's got enough of like an underbite?
Man, I mean, I don't know. I mean, the real Magnus is not a very charismatic dude.
No, when he was really young, he was. But yeah, now now he looks fucked up if you look at him. But
I mean,
what does he look like?
Hans Niemann,
it's
like
tough, man.
Hans Niemann, you could throw a couple guys into Hans Niemann that are like very erratic and crazy. But Magnus,
oh man,
Magnus, they could make just like the more like stoic.
Would you put it like a prosthetic chin on him?
I don't know.
Magnus is just insane looking. Anyway, that's fascinating. Hey,
I hope it happens.
By the way, I wonder who it is that formed the bridge that sparked this creative relationship between Emma Stone and Nathan Fielder. It's Kyle Mooney.
I was going to say Dave.
Kyle Mooney.
Well, Dave, yes, directly. But
Kyle Mooney works on season 1 of Nathan For You.
It's
as
Kyle
a writer.
M now.
Yes, Kyle M works on season 1 of Nathan For You.
Why are you using his fake name?
His dead name?
I wasn't going to say that.
Can't believe
that's
you said
the fake me.
This is the real me.
I do want to say a couple other things about just the finale of Nathan, where we lead off. Some really just like dumb bad faith articles that I have seen pop up lately about just like Nathan Fielder dodging the autism diagnosis so you can put people in danger by flying planes. Like, are you even fucking watching? Like, this is kind of the whole point of the show is that there's a spectrum for a reason. And I don't know, in like in a world where like a week and a half ago, we have somebody who works very closely with the president of the United States saying that autistic people will never be able to own their own apartment, to live on their own, to have a job. I thought that was a really cool thing to like how this season ends.
The final note is really poignant.
Well, it is profound, and also it's kind of upsetting. Like it is just a thing like, this sucks that this is the world that we live in, that if anybody is anxious in their job, it should be airline pilots that are actively like having to fly hundreds of people per plane several times a day. Like usually like 3, 4, 5 flights a day that you're just going back to back to back. They're gonna be fucking anxious.
They should be allowed to talk about it.
You are unable to talk about it, that can lead to you just losing your job. That sucks. My other question for you guys: would you guys do an fMRI? Because I have always wanted to do an fMRI. That like it's the whole thing that you see a bunch of things and it will like fully tell you
scans.
I would
fMRI.
I would 100% do that if it wouldn't get me put on like an RFK list.
Well, here's the thing: you will be put on the list.
Yeah, so that is real. Like you can diagnose autism from a single scan.
Well, usually it's like it's something
that
no, it's not like a made up thing, but it is something that usually like they don't just say like, yep, you're autistic based on it, but it's something that like your brain will light up a certain way, and then they're like, okay, let's do further tests from here to see.
I do wonder
if you have OCD or if you have ADHD.
I guess if I were starting from scratch, I would do that. However, I've already obtained enough diagnoses the other way that if I got any more, it would feel like way too many.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You'd feel like you were taking meds that were counteracting each other.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't want to know anymore.
You don't want your SSRIs and your
I feel like I observe my own behavior enough to know like enough about myself that I don't need someone else to tell me.
I will say,
Hunter,
being an MRI
does this
machine,
guy not know?
I do wonder about that final note, or not the final note, but that final sequence. Which is beautiful, by the way, the way it's shot, like just zooming into his eyes when he is looking at his phone and like deleting the voicemail. Who is watching the rehearsal thinking that like that's real? Like
people are stupid.
Yeah. Also,
I don't get how
the most
people watch
unbelievable
way stupider things and think they're real.
The most unbelievable part of that sequence is that he has no other voicemails that have just sitting in his phone for the last 5 years that he's just going to go back and listen to one day, or at least tell himself they will.
People are really, really dumb.
I don't know what it must be like to watch a show like this and not be able
to suss out.
To not only to suss out, but also to look beyond it and understand when it is real, right? Mm-hmm. Like you're not allowing yourself to experience the actual reality of the show.
Well, Ernie, let me ask you the question then, because you are married to a Nathan Fielder denier.
Exactly.
A flat earther of Nathan Fielder, if you will, that thinks that it's all fake. Does Lee think that there actually was no plane?
I mean, she didn't watch it, but I'm sure if I showed it to her, she would find a way to say that like it was all fake.
Yeah, there is.
No plane. It feels personal at this point with Lee. Like you'd show her the flight log and she'd be like, "That wasn't real."
Yeah, they doctored the logs.
I mean, this is the same. It's I say skill issue. Like this is. I think the same goes for like smart people who don't like watching reality TV. I think it's because they don't want to, or they don't like having to suss out the fake parts. I love watching reality TV because I think I'm very good at that.
Yeah.
I'm good at
you're watching it for a different type of entertainment. It's the same people when it's just like, I have like friends that like I love and respect and they can't appreciate Tom Cruise jumping from one airplane to another airplane.
No, that's just unforgivable.
Yeah.
I couldn't be friends with him.
I don't like from one airplane to the other. I like when it's contained within the two wings of a single airplane.
You didn't like seeing, would you have liked the rehearsal more or less if you could have seen Nathan Fielder's fillers being warped around by 100-mile-an-hour winds as he was flying the plane?
It's honestly like, it's kind of like he's doing first of its kind science experience, because has anyone with like jaw fillers ever
I really
blasted like 500 mile an hour
honestly,
winded
like,
at the fake shit?
that was one of my biggest concerns on the way home was I was just like, is that like, can you do that? Like, I don't think that those are like meant to be.
No,
he
dude,
must have
that
gotten
way.
like a fresh situation just for that scene. Like he
Yeah.
must have gone to his guy and been like, "Hey,
There's a
can
couple
you
of shots in the
install
new
me
one where
with
it's like, oh,
something?"
Tom's looking old. Do you think they filmed those afterwards because the fillers got like blown out basically?
Yeah, exactly. Like the all of a sudden, like the back of his head looks like a baby. You know.
Tom Cruise could never be baby Sully Sullenberg.
I did want to call out the shot of the second plane getting the shot of Nathan looking out the cockpit directly into the camera.
Love that.
Cinema.
Mhm.
Love that.
Mhm.
Also, I think I got who I would want to play Magnus Carlsen and Hans Niemann. I think Jack Quaid would be a great Magnus.
What?
Come on.
Ugh.
No? And I think Robert Pattinson would make a great Hans Niemann. You got to put a wig on that guy.
So
you got to
Bobby
make a
Patty, I can
big
see,
floppy wig on.
I don't know about Jack Quaid.
I don't buy Jack Quaid as like a high status character. He has to be the low status guy.
Here's the
Magnus
thing.
is like the Chad of chess. He's like the guy.
You don't think
Here's the thing.
Quaid can do Chad?
And
Quaid is a pussy.
so this works more so for like modern day what we're having here for Magnus, but what about Paul Walter Hauser? He's got the underbite. You know, it's a
Okay.
little bigger. He might have to slim down just a little
Here's
bit
the
more.
bad-
But he's slimmed up. Like he's
I could see
fucking
it.
beefcake now.
I
Like
could see it.
Here's the bad version. For Magnus, you cast Freddie Highmore, the good doctor.
Okay.
that,
It is every producer in the world will call that an
You know,
absolute layup. They'd be like, "Oh, he's played autistic guys before."
I get like Facebook Reels cropped clips of that show in my feed sometimes.
Could we go full Chad with it, and this could be part of the Army Hammer comeback tour?
Okay. Yeah, sure. Fuck it. We're all gonna die anyway.
Hans Niemann, Jeremy Allen White.
Ooh. Okay.
Nah,
The hair, yeah, you know.
it works.
Can he be zany? This movie has to be kooky. You know, we're about to see him in Deliver Me From Nowhere, you know, which is probably going to be very serious. You know, this boy's always brooding. You know, I want to
That's
see him
true.
pop off.
Yeah, I need somebody with like more sunken eyes. That's why Bobby Patty is a good
Yeah.
choice. I like Bobby Patty.
Miles Teller, Jesse Eisenberg.
Miles Teller doesn't look like he's ever played chess.
Yeah, here's the thing. I've kind of
Most actors look too stupid.
I don't know how to tell you guys this, but I have sold off a lot of property that I had on Miles Teller Island. I
Really?
think that I just don't know what's happening anymore. After
Did you see the gorge?
the gorge, yeah, I don't know what the fuck is going on anymore. I'm already clinging on for dear life. I'm eating it on Saoirse Ronan Island right now. Like
Ugh.
we are hemorrhaging money right now, and I have to hold one property.
You know, I should have
Miles
hedged.
Teller,
I should have
I sold
hedged
off.
on hedges.
What's up? What's
Man,
bro? Where's
Lucas
bro
Hedges
at?
is gone. He said lean on Pete and then just like dipped out. He was like, I'm not going to make any more movies now.
Oof.
All right. Well, thank you, Nathan Fielder, for the rehearsal.
Thank you, Hans Niemann.
We can wrap it up there until Checkmate. Hopefully, it happens.
I'm still looking at actors.
Hey, Lucas Hedges does have a movie coming out this year. It's called Sorry Baby.
Magnus, Ty Sheridan. Are those sunken in enough for you?
It's pretty goddamn sunken in. I don't know. That's pretty good.
All right. Thank you all for listening. Please remember to rate, review, and subscribe. Like and comment. Let us know your thoughts on everything that we talked about, including the Rehearsal Season 2, The Final Reckoning, Phoenician Scheme, Survivor Season 50 cast. Leave those comments down below. Visit WeBottomMic.net to get every episode in your inbox. Join the Discord. Thank you, beautiful donors, for donating. Patreon.com/WeBottomMic. You make this show possible. Next week, we're trying to make up for lost time here. We basically took the month of May off because we had a birthday. Now we have another birthday. So
The boys are
we took
turning
the
30.
classic month off for the birthday.
so we got a few TV pods coming at you in addition to this one. We got Andor, The Last of Us. We're planning on hopefully bringing you some thoughts on The Studio and The Pit. And then all of that leading to our mid-year check-in at the end of June. So please stick around for that. Thank you all. We love you. Bye-bye.
Bye.